This is Selma Schimmel at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium. Very happy to present Voice for Life. CJ Corneliussen-James, president and co-founder of MetaVivor Research and Support. Hello, CJ.
Hello, it's nice to be here.
It's nice to have an opportunity to speak with you. You have the most unique professional life history. You yourself are a mighty warrior. I'd love for the viewers to know a little bit about your life history.
I was actually started my career as an Air Force intelligence officer and was in the Air Force for 24 years, lived in a lot of places around the world and did a lot of interesting things. I enjoyed the career very much. I retired from the Air Force in 2004. And at that time, I had been working for a number of years with the Defense Prisoner of War Missing Personnel Office to resolve the cases of individuals who had not returned from the Vietnam War. And they had an opening at that point in the office for a civilian. So I retired from the Air Force, took the civilian position, and was in that 11 months when I developed primary breast cancer. I developed my breast cancer only 3 months after. I found the breast cancer 3 months after a clean mammogram. I found a lump under my arm and knew right away that that was not a good sign and was diagnosed with stage 2B at that time. So I did the standard things. I went through treatment, surgery, adriamycin, Cytoxan, radiation, went on Arimidex, and 5 months after that I got diagnosed with systemic lupus. And 5 months after that, we found that I had a fast-growing tumor in my lung, and biopsy determined that it was indeed metastatic breast cancer and not a primary lung cancer.
So you were dealing simultaneously with lupus and breast cancer.
Yes.
You must have been very tired.
Well, I think it was more the shock that in 22 months I'd been diagnosed very rapidly with 3 serious illnesses. First, the 2B breast cancer, then the lupus, and then the metastatic breast cancer. And at that point, I said to my boss, this really doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to keep working. I really thought, and the doctors thought, that this was not a good sign and that I probably did not have long at all to live. So I decided to retire. I was in a position where I could take a retirement of sorts from the federal government. The important thing there was it kept my health insurance intact. Right. So I took that retirement, but what happened was I had surgery to remove one lobe of my lung. And when I was in that surgery, something really jumped out at me. When I'd had primary breast cancer and I was in the hospital, a cheery volunteer came in while I was on the gurney waiting to be rolled in, and she said, "I'm a breast cancer survivor. I'm here to talk to you and tell you you're going to be fine, and here's this big bag of gifts that I can give you, and we've got all these support programs for immediate and then the first year and then the second year, and we have mentors that'll walk you through your whole first year." I mean, it was pretty impressive. I thought, whoa, the breast cancer community really has its act together here. And when I was in that same hospital for a lobectomy for stage 4 breast cancer, there was no volunteer. There were no words of comfort. There was absolutely nothing. And I remember I was laying there and I thought, I have fallen off the pink pedestal and landed in the leper colony. I mean, it was just so forceful in my mind. And I thought, this is just so unfair. I mean, not only are you coping with a terminal illness, but now there's nobody there to help. And so when I got out of the hospital, I called the person who ran the other program. I said, "What do you have for metastatic disease?" And she said, "Nothing." So I started something. I started a support program at that time. That's how it all began.
So it's something I so relate to because
Absolutely.
Started my organization because at the time there was nothing for young adults. It's a very isolating feeling.
It is. It really is. I was really fortunate at that time, I felt, because just 4 weeks earlier, by sheer coincidence, at a party, I met a woman who had metastatic breast cancer. I'd never met anyone with metastatic cancer. And I met her, and she told me all about her personal experiences. And the day I got diagnosed, I went home and I called the person who had hosted the party and I said, give me that woman's phone number. And I called her and she came over and talked to me. And that was such a comfort to me to be able to talk to somebody with the disease. And I thought everybody should have that opportunity. They shouldn't have to go through this alone.
What do you do now for treatment? How do you maintain the disease under control to the best of your ability? And because obviously no one would look at you and say, oh, well, this is a woman who's got cancer.
Most people who have metastatic disease, you probably pass them on the street all the time and don't know it. And we tend to look very well until the end, which is good. In my case, I'm extremely fortunate because I had a single metastatic tumor that was surgically removed, and I have not recurred since that time, and it's been 6 years. I am on Faslodex, I am on a drug, and I am treated every 4 weeks.
How does one coexist, I used that word before, with the disease when you are so long out as you or others are fortunate to be?
You do have to find a balance, and I think anybody who's diagnosed initially, for whether it's a few days or a few weeks or a couple of months, you're pretty devastated. I mean, it's a very, very hard adjustment. But I think then you turn around and you say, okay, this is my life, and do I really want to spend it being unhappy and concerned and obsessing on the fact that my life is shortened? And no, I don't.
You've traveled this enormous life journey. What do you take from it? What has your greatest lesson been?
Lesson, I think it's a little hard to say that there's been a lesson, but I feel incredibly enriched, actually. I mean, I've been given an opportunity to look into a completely different world that I didn't even know existed. I have met incredible people, metastatic and non-metastatic, that have reached out to help our community, that have really played an active role in doing that. I have met incredible women that have faced their situation with such energy and strength and selflessness that's been incredible. And I think that's one of the things that keeps us going. It's the losses that we've endured rather than discouraging us, because some people say, well, doesn't that just make you give up? And no, it empowers us, because these were people for whom our mission meant so much, and they worked so hard to promote it. And we carry it on in their honor as well as because we want to do it. It's a recognition of them.
What's your closing thought for someone who may be watching you right now who's just found out that they have metastatic breast cancer?
I would say there is life beyond metastatic breast cancer. If you've just been diagnosed, I know it's devastating, and you think, I'm never going to get over this, I'm never going to be able to cope with this, this is the worst possible thing that could happen. I understand that. Sit back, breathe deeply, relax a little bit, and then reach out. Find the discussion boards, find the local groups, get together with people with other metastatic disease. It's going to make you feel better. It's going to make you realize there are things you can do. But also, decide on priorities in your life. You don't know how long you're going to live true. You might live another 15 or 20 years, you might not. So prioritize special things in your life and put them higher up on your priority list. Get them done, enjoy them, and then move forward with your life. Thank you, CJ. You're a living example of that. Thank you.
CJ Corneliussen-James, President and Co-Founder of MetaVivor Research and Support.